Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good, presented by Betches Media. Listen, we cover a lot of reality, docudrama, docu-series, a lot of people fighting, a lot of people in competition. And today we get to cover something that I think can put a little bit of good into the world. I watched a fantastic culinary special that premieres on August 22nd on one of our favorite streaming services, Max. Now, get this. This is the whole thing is this celebrity chef is on a mission to integrate vegan options onto the menu at a Nashville beloved Germantown pub. And she has to deal with a stubborn chef. She has to deal with the clientele. And it's really put to the test to convince these carnivores, or as carnies, as she likes to call them, to let a little vegan into their lives. Now, our guest today is a best-selling author, a chef. She's a vegan lifestyle advocate. She holds a culinary degree from Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts. She has her own cookbook, Unbelievably Vegan. We have the amazing Chef Charity Morgan, and the show is Unbelievably Vegan with Chef Charity. I don't know why I'm having trouble with the word chef today. I think I'm just, anyways, Charity Morgan, welcome to the show.
Ryan, thank you so much. I mean, I'm like, dang, I did do all that.
You really did. I have to tell you, as a carnivore myself, I was a little trepidatious to go into this culinary special. And by the end, I was like, okay, I'm sold. I am completely sold. You must fight that every day of your existence, of somebody like me having to prove them wrong. Not wrong, but
Mhm.
just try to change their ways subtly.
Yeah, actually, you're my favorite client. You really are. You really are. I truly believe that, like, I don't, what, if someone is already vegan or plant-based, there's nothing I could talk to you about. So I want to talk to the people that's like, no, you can't take my steak away. And I'm like, I'm not trying to take your steak away. I just want you to try something new. That's it.
Well, I mean, and you have such an interesting story in how you came to be a vegan chef, and it has to do with your husband, right?
Correct. Yes, that is correct.
Well, so he is a football player on a professional NFL team, and he started with a vegan lifestyle, right? And that's what got you into this?
Yes, he wanted to lower inflammation in his body, and through much research and studies, he found that a anti-inflammatory diet would be best for him, and he started exploring the plant-based route, and he was struggling. Like he did it really good, and then he started struggling, and that's when I stepped in.
And you were able to kind of make things that are acceptable to us meat eaters that can convince somebody that this is a better lifestyle overall. And by the way, guys, I know I'm talking like scary things, but the show itself is delightful. It is so fun, and that's thanks to you. Have you always been this kind of upbeat persona? You seem like one of the most positive people out there, and you don't seem to run away from a challenge.
Oh no, I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. I love challenges, and ultimately, that's just my job. My job is to just be an educator and debunk so many things. So, I mean, JD, on the show, he is a very, very, very hard person to deal with when it came to
And
this
JD,
stuff.
you guys, is the chef. JD is the head chef at the place, the Germantown pub, that they're doing all of these things. And he's one of those guys. He loves his smoker. He loves to smoke his meat. He's really kind of like, no, this is the way I like it. So you have to convince him of these other
Yeah,
options.
yeah. He's pretty much like take your vegetables and go. So ultimately, that's just my job, and I'm not here to give you foreign objects. People don't want. I'm not trying to say, "Oh, here's a broccoli quiche." It's like people want foods that are familiar. People want foods that connect them to their childhood and connect them to the things that are very memorable to their lifestyle. And I'm not here to take that away from you at all.
No, I mean, by the way, I mean, you show us that everything can be done. I mean, you make these cauliflower wings, And you're not even satisfied with the wings. She's not even satisfied with the wings, you guys. And she redoes the recipe and like nails it by the end. That she does these pub nachos that look amazing. Everything looks amazing. Can you explain? I had no idea what jackfruit is, and all of a sudden you're smoking jackfruit on a smoker, which I didn't even know you could smoke. I thought you just had to smoke meat on a smoker. How do you even find out you can do any of this stuff? Like, what are you researching? Are you in a laboratory
No.
somewhere?
This trial and error. I'm just like, it actually started with tofu because tofu is so bland. And I had clients like NFL players that's like, don't ever give me tofu. That's like the one thing, please don't give me tofu. So it was like that one thing that I was just like, how can I make tofu better? How can I make tofu better? And I literally put it in my smoker and I was just like, oh my God, marinate it, smoke it. And it literally just changes from being tofu to something else. And so once I realized you could take something as bland as tofu and make it taste like anything you want it to taste like, I realized that I can smoke anything.
So ultimately, as a chef, that kind of like opens up your whole world because, I would imagine being a chef, you're used to dealing with like meats and proteins and things like that. But with this, you are like kind of a scientist. You're like a Willy Wonka in a way of being able to make all of these things that people say are bland, anything that the imagination can hold, which has really got to be so exciting for you.
Absolutely, because it comes down to spices and technique. If I just gave you just fried chicken by itself and didn't spice it up, you'd be like, this is pretty boring. Well, anything is that way. So it's just putting some love into it.
How did you come up with the idea of doing this show? And by the way, folks, like I said, the culinary special comes out on the 22nd, but I was really disappointed. I think my overall disappointment was this is just one show. Like I was like, why am I not seeing a full season where you are going from town to town, from pub to pub in people's homes? Because I was like, it's right here. In fact, I was on the site to watch the first episode and I was going to go to the second episode. And I was like, where is the second episode? Is that something in your purview that you're going to keep doing this? Because I think this is an automatic series.
Yeah, absolutely. And we shall see. And it comes down to, do you guys want to see more of me? Do you want to see more of me coming and fighting people like you? I mean, I come to your house, Ryan. Let me come to your house.
Please, by the way, we've got a sequel right here. Get me healthy. Like I was watching this and I was like, God, I need, and I'm not an NFL football player. I'm the size of one, but like, my God, if you can convince NFL football players, which by the way, it's not just your husband, you got other NFL football players on to this vegan lifestyle. And it just, since some of us like me are just completely dumb, you make this point in the show. What is vegan?
So vegan is a lifestyle where you're not using and consuming or using anything that's made from an animal. So what I like to say is I call it plegan. Plegan is plant-based and vegan put together because I believe in crawl before you walk. And if I have to teach you just the very bare minimum of like, let's start with what's on your plate, then we can go to the next level. And so
Yeah.
I want it to be so much more inclusive to how you see what you're eating because I had to deal with that with, my players. Like I've had the vegan community come after my players and be like, how can you call yourself vegan when you're playing with a football and that football is
Oh
made
my
out of leather? And I'm just like, I I can't with you guys. No,
you can't make everybody happy these days. You
I
just can't.
cannot make
Yeah.
everybody happy. I'm
Wait,
just
what
like,
about a tofu football? What about a tofu cherry? We could do a
yeah,
tofu football.
yeah.
That's well, I was reading an interview with you and you were saying like even like meatless Mondays. You can start like with just like a 1 day a week thing and
Yeah.
like you said, crawl before you walk, which I think
Hmm.
this is what excited me about the show was that you kind of it was like every other amazing cooking show that you see, but it kind of presents this idea in your head that there is this other lifestyle out there and it's fun as hell. It's really good for you. You can see immediate benefits potentially. But I will say, there's this other great scene in the show that I had no concept of. You go to like this deli, but it's a deli that's like a vegan deli, and they're making pepperoni, you guys, out of sun dried tomatoes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. It's The plant kingdom is such a beautiful thing. Like just to believe that, Mother Nature gives us, mushrooms that taste like chicken and uh vegetables that you can like put the right spices in and it just automatically tastes like a chorizo or a pepperoni because it all comes down to the spices. And that's what I'm always telling people. Like it comes down to the spices no matter what form of meat you use. So why not take the meat out and replace it with something that has the same texture? And so there's so many beautiful chefs and creators out there making plant-based meats. There's plant-based bakeries, which you do see in the show as well. I'm just kind of showing everybody what's out there.
Yeah, no, and you do that amazingly. When you started this journey of being a chef 15, 16 years ago, or however long it was, w- were you vegan at the time? What was that switch over if you weren't? Like, what got you into this? Were you somebody that was always fascinated with food as a child?
Oh, I've always been fascinated with food. I wasn't raised privileged with tons of money and tons of food and resources. So my journey for being a chef came from just being creative, and I love creativity, whether it's drawing, painting, whatever it may be. And I found this beautiful avenue of being creative with food, and it started with how creative I could be with very little ingredients that we had in our kitchen because I'm one of six kids and we didn't have a lot of food. And so I remember as young as being like 8 years old, me and my brother like being super competitive of who can make the best ramen noodles like that. And it's just like, oh my God. And I remember like dumping out the water and frying the ramen noodles in butter and cheese and like doing things like that. And it just continued to be this person that literally made something out of nothing.
And then what was your step into being like, I really want to explore the vegan lifestyle myself?
It came from actually visiting Europe and I was early 20s and I saw how Europe loves food. And it's not like here in America, we love everything that's quick and fast and processed. It was like they love food from like the farm to table approach. Like everything was fresh. Every sauce was made homemade. You had to go get your bread daily because it wouldn't last in the refrigerator after a couple of days because it'll get hard because it had no preservatives. And it was just like fundamental thing of taking your time out to make something that's delicious. I was just like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I want to do this.
And then, I mean, so that's really kind of incredible. I mean, I just went to Europe this summer, and I was in Switzerland. And we had a farm to table meal with with just all vegetables, and it was one of the most beautiful 2.5 hour experiences that we had. Everything was so delicious. Everything was so good. So I was so happy to see this show, and I was like, God, it really is possible. What do you think the one holdup? I mean, obviously, people have this kind of romanticism about, meat and dairy and things like that. But what are the other holdups you get with people or when you go into a pub or stuff? Like, what are the big holdups?
I think the big holdup is that people think that I'm taking something away from them. And it's a control thing. It's like, no, you're not taking anything away from me. People want to have their like autonomy for what they eat. And I'm not taking that away. And that's the number one thing I'm telling people. I'm not taking away Nona's special red sauce. I'm not taking away anything. All I want to do is allow you to be creative with different ingredients so you can eat all these beautiful things. Like I'm Puerto Rican and Creole. Do you think that I'm trying to take away my gumbo and I'm trying to take away my empanadas and like my jambalaya and all these things that make up who Charity Morgan is? No, I'm not. But it's such a beautiful creative space where you can change just a few ingredients and still get what you dream of.
Yeah. No, it totally looks like that. I will also say one of the most disgusting parts of this culinary special is we have to get the grease out from the greaser and pour it into a big bucket because she needs a special greaser for her vegan options. And I was like, my God, all of our food is in this grease. Like all of our food. I was like, it was a really shocking moment to see, which I loved. But you won over. I don't want to give away the special, but like you pretty much win over everybody. Was there any holdouts in this special or after you stopped filming where they were like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going back?
No, it was actually the opposite. It was like it was a tearjerker for me because even when the cameras were rolling, um, the JD and the staff, they bought me flowers and they were like, just thank you so much for like showing us like how much more creative we can be. And often as chefs, we get pigeonholed in the same vein and we do things over and over and over and over. That's why I hate working in restaurants, to be truthful, is because it's not like you're being creative. You're making what's on the menu, and what's on the menu is pretty much you're making the same thing every day. So it kind of opened up this world of possibilities of where food can be, and it was just such a beautiful thing that even I don't care what that restaurant does, whether they put things on the menu or not. I planted a seed, and that's all I care about.
Which I love that you planted a seed on a plant-based lifestyle. I mean, that's a t-shirt right there.
Yeah,
That's a slogan.
yeah.
You are now considered a celebrity chef, and I was wondering if there are people in this industry that you look up to, or you model your career after, people that have maybe possibly been mentors to you throughout your career.
No, because I'm just not in mainstream media. I don't watch TV. I don't. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
okay, we gotta let you go. You don't want you're okay
I
now. You've
don't.
lost me. The vegan thing I'm willing to go with, but the no TV, you must be
I
happy as heck.
don't. I am because I mean, I live on acreage and I just enjoy beautiful life. And I actually get inspired from the little chefs. Like when I can go into a local restaurant here in Nashville and I'm looking at their menu and they have no vegan options and I look at it and go, damn, this is a shame. Like this is a completely sushi restaurant and it's like, do you know how simple it is to do some like vegetable rolls and make people
Yeah,
happy? So that's where I get my inspiration. I get my inspiration from the locals, no matter where I am. Like I just came back from Spain and oh my God, I came back so inspired because of the chefs in Spain. Like they're
yeah.
making everything from
Well,
scratch.
that's what I was going to ask. Like, what's the next frontier? Like, what's the next thing in terms of the vegan lifestyle that you're wanting to conquer? Or like, I haven't found a way to make this taste like this yet. Like, is there something that you're always in the lab trying to figure out?
Every single day. I made two cheesecakes in less than 3 days just because I wanted to perfect it. A
Who gets to
different
eat?
version.
Who gets to eat the mistakes? Who gets to eat the things that are like? Is it your family or do you just throw them
Yes.
out? Because you can send them my way too.
No.
That's
No, my family. So I made a peanut butter and jelly cheesecake the other day and people were just like, "Oh my God, this is so freaking good." So I was like, "Oh, I think I can make it a little bit better." And I have cheesecakes in my cookbook. Shameless plug. I have a cookbook
no.
named Unbelievably Vegan and I have cookbooks and I have a cheesecake in there and I got a message through my portal the other day on my website that said, "Hey, I'm allergic to nuts and I can't do the cashews for the cheesecake. Do you have a nut-free cheesecake?" And I said, "I'm going to create one." So that's what I was doing.
God, it's like every day could like you could do something completely new that will blow people's minds. Like you said, you have the unbelievably vegan cookbook. You have this show or this culinary special. But I was thinking, like you just said about restaurants. I don't like. Would you ever open your own restaurant, or is that too limiting in a way because you said you're always potentially cooking the same thing?
Oh, absolutely. It would be the most like unconventional restaurant ever. It would be like we change our menu weekly or seasonally. Like I would have to be creating. I could not have this monotonous, like same thing every day. Of course, I'll keep something if people are willing to fight for it. But it's like, I just want to continue to evolve as a chef and learn as much as I can.
It seems like you're doing exactly that. Now, since this is a little bit of a pop culture show as well, I was noticing on your bio you catered the plant-based menu for Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth's wedding. Unfortunately, they're not together any longer. But what was that experience like? I mean, are you even able to share what was on their menu?
Yeah, it was just a beautiful collaboration of two people that like for me, when I cook for people, there's no ego. Like I remove myself completely out of the equation. All I'm here for is my creativity and my skill set. So when people are coming to me, I ask them what do they want. And she just wanted a completely Southern wedding, and that's exactly what I gave her. I gave her fried chicken, mac and cheese. Like I gave her everything she wanted as a Southern wedding. Cornbread, biscuits, all these things.
Which, by the way, you do a great mac and cheese in this culinary special. And that was another thing. I was like, dang. I was like, I really, we are so limiting, and I think it's partly American as well, and what we think can be done, and how we're already against something before we even try it. I don't mean just with food; I mean with everything in life.
Absolutely.
And that's why this is such an interesting show, because it kind of does little like open that mind. And by the way, this isn't like a boring kind of like talk down to you show. This is like a fun show. This is every show that you love out there that involves food. It's just that it involves a plant-based diet, which, you know, you kind of even forget about that, and you just are amazed throughout this hour long where you're like, whoa, okay, that's well, that goes that argument out the window. How important is it in what you do to, and I guess in your personal lifestyle, because you seem so positive, like how important is dreaming for you, like, and you know, do you vision board, do you do all the, I always, you seem highly successful and motivated. I just wonder how that all happens.
It's usually through the notes in my phone.
So you're like
I
you're like
usually
you're like a singer songwriter where you're like, oh, that's a good beat, and you write it down on the phone.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny because like the first year or two that I went plant-based, my notes section was so long because I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Like it'll be 3 in the morning and I'm like, gotta make a lobster bisque. I gotta make a vegan lobster bisque and I'll put it
Wait,
in my phone.
wait, can you make a vegan lobster bisque?
Oh, absolutely. It's in
How
my
do you wait?
cookbook.
How do you, okay? So by the way, I'm ordering this cookbook after I was watching this with my girlfriend, and she was in love with this, and she was like, "Oh my god, I love this show so much." But you can make a lobster bisque.
Yes, and it tastes identical to the thing that you once had that was lobster.
That's wild. I mean, like, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. I mean, you can't do mussels, right?
No, but remember I told you about the what's in Mother Nature? So there is an actual mushroom called lobster mushrooms that actually have this lobster-ish essence. And once you add like the sherry wine and you add like the heavy cream, which I make my own heavy cream and all of these other, I use fennel and all these aromatics that create this beautiful classic dish. You close your eyes and you once forget that there was no lobster in this.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's the good way to do it, because I've read like books about McDonald's where they'll like mess with aromatics like to convince you what you're eating is what. I mean, it's really wild how processed a lot of food is right now. And the other thing I was wondering while I was watching this is how cost prohibitive is a vegan lifestyle for just average people? Like, how do you start with that if people are like, oh, it's too expensive?
I think that that's just a crock of bull. I really do. I really do. I mean, any lifestyle is going to be expensive outside of going through a drive-through every day. I mean, you can get the value menu on a whatever day. I don't know. I haven't eaten drive-through in decades, but whatever the value menu is, yeah, that's super cheap to eat like that, but it's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you, man. It might not cost you right now, but it's going to cost you down the line. So I'd rather start putting in my I'd rather start building that fundamental layer right now than being reactive later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it comes down to is your health. Like what is like, yes, you cannot eat like that every single day and expect that you do wake up unscathed at some point.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to be told by a doctor that you have to have a vegan lifestyle. Like it's actually good to start instituting some of these things in your own lives, even if it's 1 day a week, 2 days a week. And the other thing that you point out, and you are like me, where I've had vegan burgers a couple of times, and they're always dried out. There's always like it's so obvious that you're not eating a burger, and you say that at the pub because you get the vegan option. First off, they put butter on it, which is like bad on the bun, but then it's like a really dried out patty. And it's so, I don't want to use the word sexy, but it's just unattractive completely. And
Hmm.
you're like, no, I want sauce on my burger. I want everything that normal people want.
Yeah. And I wanted that before I was vegan. So why does my wants and desires change just because I decided to give up the animal products?
Yeah. Yeah. You've got some big people behind this show. Oprah Winfrey's network, they're one of the producers on this. Molly Sims' company is a producer on this. How did you get so many big names in the entertainment industry involved and interested in what you do?
I don't know. I don't know. I just like, how did that happen? I just like, God, you are so good to me. Like, I don't know how did I get Molly Sims on my phone? Like, she's just such a beast at what she does, and she's just such a amazing human being. So, how did I get Molly, and how did I get freaking Oprah? I don't know. I must have did a lot of good in the world, and this is just my karma.
Well, my gosh, I haven't met either of those ladies yet, so I've done a lot of bad in the world, but I'm okay. I'm glad. I wanted to, as we start winding down here a little bit, I wanted to know about the filming of this show. Like, what was that like in terms of a learning curve for you of being this chef and cookbooks and stuff like that? Being in front of the camera, I thought you were a complete natural. Was that something that you were trepidatious about or nervous going into this?
No, I'm not
No?
afraid. I'm not afraid of people. I'm not. I'm just like, people are just like me and you. I don't, not to, the celebrity world and being a celebrity, it just, I feel like it's an even playing field. We are all the same. I was more so intrigued and more so nervous about the chef than people and cameras because, I mean, chefs are stubborn in their own ways. And that's, I think, the most beautiful part about it all is that I learned from JD, just like JD learned from me. Being in the chef world, it's never ending of, education and knowledge. And so I walked away with so many tips and tricks from him.
Like what? What did you learn from JD?
How to smoke things properly.
Yeah.
He's a
Well, I mean,
smoker.
it's all about the pellets and the wood you use and all of
Oh,
this.
yes. That was so fun to me. I just like, give me a big boss hog smoker right now.
God, I really wish you could run my life. I mean, I bet a lot of people that bump into you want that. And that's why I think this show is good too, because you get to experience who you are in this special. And that's why I was like, God, there needs to be more of this. And I'm so excited for what's to come. Is there anything that you can share with the audience about if we want more of you? Because I know CharityMorgan.com, I know the cookbook. Are you able to tease anything that's on the horizon or anything that's stewing right now?
The more people that want it, the more you see it. It's just supply and demand. That's how it works in any industry.
Yeah. What's the best moment of your career so far?
The launch of this.
Really?
Yes, it is
This
because for so many years, like I used to get these messages that made me so sad. People would email me and say, how I know I'm not an NFL player and I know I'm not a celebrity and I'm not in Nashville. So how can I just get a piece of you? Like, and the more that I, release my book and it's like, hey, you can make the same recipes. And the more people that I could touch, the bigger the audience is, the more I feel like I'm continuing to plant those seeds.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's really amazing. What is the what is your favorite vegan dish of all times? It's not doesn't have to be something that you cooked. What was the best where you took a bite out of it and it was everything?
Mine or someone else's.
Both.
So when I was in Barcelona, there's a guy named Chef Nicky, and he made the most incredible eggs Benedict that tastes like an eggs Benedict. I literally took my fork, right into the middle of it and freaking the egg yolk burst. And I was just like, what is happening to me right now? And it was so freaking delicious. So yes,
Wait, how
that
do you
would be
make an
it.
egg burst without an egg?
I was like, what did you use? And he was just like, I used a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I was just like, whatever, I don't even care. I'm just going to enjoy this moment.
And then about yours, what is your favorite dish that you've ever cooked that you nailed it?
It's honestly the next dish. It's
Uh,
creating something new. It really is. I'm ready
well,
to try this. This right now. I have it chilled in the refrigerator. This caramel apple cheesecake that is sitting in my refrigerator right now. That's what I can't
okay,
wait
can
to
you
try.
drop your location? Can you give us your address? I could be there probably by tonight if you would wait. But folks, the show is called Unbelievably Vegan with Chef. God, why don't know Chef Charity? Why am I Chef Charity? Anyways, I'll
Yeah.
cut around this. It's premiering August 22nd. I want you guys to go watch this. Then you're going to want to find out more about her. Go to CharityMorgan.com. Then you're going to want to get her cookbook, which is Unbelievably Vegan. You can do all of those things, but you got to support this. This puts a little bit of good out into the world, and it really is just, it kind of opens up your mind about a lot of different possibilities, and it's really fun, just like you are. Charity, thank you so much for all your time today, and congratulations on the success. I think you knocked it out of the park.
Thank you, Ryan. You are great. I love your energy. Please invite me on again.
No, invite me to your house. Tell your husband I'm coming, please.
I will. Plus one for
Thanks.
dinner.
Thanks. Okay, we are out. Sorry, I'm just finding the stop button. Was that okay for